Hello everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome if you're new, otherwise welcome back. I'm Nika and I make book related videos, and this is me trying to film after a really long time, so I hope you'll be patient with me if I make any mistakes, but I'm excited to share these books with you. So I haven't really filmed recently, but that was because you know, as the year comes to an end, it gets colder and you kind of get into a slump. I did, and besides I think the last haul I did was for August and September. With October comes all the festivities and everything, so I really got caught up. Today is the 1st of December and I thought it would be a good time to collectively make this haul, you know, for my October and November books, because I didn't get that many books in November, so I decided to club it all together. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and without further ado, let's go over all the books I bought. So the first book I have to share is called Wednessday Child by Yoon Lee. This was actually a review copy that was sent to me by HarperCollins, and it's a collection of short stories that navigate loss, life, women's stories, women's lives, how they navigate their relationships, everything. It was very beautiful and it's kind of slow paced, and all of these stories are very much set in the present without letting us know what's going to happen to these characters in the future. So if that's something that's up your alley, you can definitely check it out. I really enjoyed this book and I've shared a review of it on my Instagram page, so you can definitely check that out if you want. Then I have another short story collection. This is 19 Claws and a Blackbird by Augustina Besturica, who also wrote Tender is the Flesh, which I think I have right here. So anyway, when I found out that this author also has a short story collection, I wanted it because I know what the general theme of Tender is the Flesh is, right? It's cannibalism. So these are the kind of stories that I really am in the mood for. I have been recently, ever since I read Samantha Schweblin, Mariana Enriquez and everything. So this is the reason I got this book. It has been described as grimly engrossing, stunning, electrifying storytelling, compelling, terrible beauty, and unforgettable. So I'm really excited to read it, and I think these are along the same lines as those themes. So yeah, definitely interested in reading this book. Moving on, two of my friends, Bhavya and Shrishti, came for a sleepover, and it was then that we kind of collectively ordered this book. So this is the unabridged journals of Sylvia Plath. Both of us had been, I think Shrishti and I, we've been really looking forward to having this copy in our hands, but it was always so exorbitantly priced. We were always, you know, telling ourselves maybe next month. But you know what happens when two girlies meet up? We encourage each other. Just go ahead and buy it. We have a saying in Hindi which goes as "Paisa to haath ka mail hai." So that is what we said to each other, and that is how both of us got this book. Really excited. I actually have read the first couple of pages, but then I've realized that I was not in the mood at that time to read it, because it was very kind of sad, kind of melancholy, and when I bought it, it was during the festive time in October here in India, so I put it down. But I really am interested in reading it. I'm sure you guys have all heard of Sylvia Plath and her writings, and I am eager to read this book. I think this will be a project for the next year. I'll read this collected journals throughout 2024. So moving on, I am still hooked on to the theme of the Unhinged Woman. So I also got this novel. This is called Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth, and it is a story of Abby Lamb and her life as a married woman with her husband and kids. But the issue is that once they move in with her mother-in-law, that is her husband's mother, everything is kind of all messed up. So then this mother-in-law dies, and Abby feels like she's being haunted by the mother-in-law. So this is quite an interesting book. I've actually seen a lot of it on Instagram, so I'm excited to read it and see what I feel about it. Here is the brief synopsis. When Laura, the mother-in-law, suddenly dies, her ghost starts to haunt Abby and Ralph. Ralph is the son, in very different ways. Ralph is plunged into depression and Abby is being terrorized by a force intent on taking everything she loves away from her. With the life she's built on the line, Abby must make the ultimate sacrifice in order to prove her adoration to Ralph and break Laura's hold on the family for good. So this has been described by BuzzFeed as a buzzworthy and ferocious horror comedy from one of the genre's most promising voices. So I haven't read Hogarth's works before at all, so I'm excited to read this. Moving on, I have a couple of non-fiction books. Again, these are all sort of journaly. So first one I have here is The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. I'm actually thinking of reading this month, that is in December, so I'll let you know what I think about it. But as far as I know, this is Joan Didion's memoir that she wrote after they saw her daughter fall ill. So this powerful book is Didion's attempt to make sense of the weeks and then months that cut loose any fixed idea I ever had about death and illness. The result is a personal yet universal portrait of marriage and life, in good times and bad, from one of the most defining voices of American literature. So me and my best friends, we are thinking of doing a book club thing and reading this in this month. And I think, even though of course there's so much about loss in it, there's also going to be elements of looking at things positively, and I think that is definitely the mood that we want to engage in for the coming year, for the coming year ahead, to prepare for the year ahead. So that's that. Then the other non-fiction book that I have is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, and I have heard so much about this book. I knew I wanted to read it. Let me see if I can I don't know if I can find a review, not review, but like a synopsis for it and tell you, because this is really funny and interesting, and I feel like it's a guide for us as we grow up, because I feel like as a person who's verging on the wrong side of 20, I might need this book, and in general, living alone, experiencing life, staying away from home, all of that. So I think this is the book that is going to be my Bible. Then I have a couple more books, fiction. We have yet another short story collection. This is called Cur Bunny, which was shortlisted for the 2022 International Booker Prize. It's by Bora Chung. So it's a collection of, again, weird short stories. Cur Bunny is a genre-defying collection of short stories by Korean author Bora Chung. Blurring the lines between magical realism, horror, and science fiction, Chung uses elements of the fantastic and surreal to address the very real horrors and cruelties of patriarchy and capitalism in modern society. And it has been translated by Anton Hur. So, really excited to read it, and I really like the cover. Moving on, I was in the mood for some books set in bookstores, having that calm vibe, and that is why I got this book, Days at the Morisaki bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. So sorry. From the beginning of summer to early spring, I lived at the Morisaki bookshop, says our heroine. I spent that period of my life in the spare room on the second floor of the store, trying to bury myself in books. The cramped room barely got any light and everything felt damp. It smelled constantly of musty old books. But I will always remember the days I spent there, because that's where my real life began. And I know without a doubt that if not for those days, the rest of my life would have been bland, monotonous, and lonely. The Morisaki bookshop is precious to me. It's a place I know I'll never forget. A tale of families, love, new beginnings, and the comfort that can be found in books. So, yeah. And then I also have this book, King of Crete by Anna Huang. Now this is book 3 in the Kings of Sin series. In book 1 we have King of Wrath, we follow Dante Ruscio. Then we had King of, I have it right here actually. We have King of Pride, also in which we followed Kai, and in book 3 we have King of Crete, in which we follow Dominic Davenport and his wife, what's her name, Alexandra Davenport. Since I have read the first 2 books, I am pretty much invested in this series and I really wanted to read it. It's a marriage in trouble book. So these 2 people have been married for the longest time, but then she feels like, you know, he's not giving her as much attention as it was in the early days, and she's tired of putting her own dreams on the back seat for her husband to succeed. So you have that. There's a lot of groveling and everything, which I really like. So overall, I've actually read it. Really fun book. So I also ended up going to the Daryaganj book market on one Sunday in October, and I got 7 books, which I'll show right here. The first one is Jeanette Winterson's Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. I have no idea what this is about, but I think this is a novel, and I have never read Winterson before. I've seen a lot of her work on Instagram and people seem to love it, so I'm eager to see how it goes. Innovative in style, its humor by turns punchy and tender. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit is a few days ride into the bizarre outposts of religious excess and human obsession. It's a love story too. Then I also got Before We Say Goodbye, which is book 4 in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. It's one of my favorite series and I just love that book, the vibes. It's, if you want something set in a small cafe with regular people sipping coffee and sharing their lives with, you know, just calm, peaceful vibes, this is a series you should definitely go for. And I have not yet read this book, but I will definitely soon. Then I also saw Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. I've heard a lot about this book and I thought that it was the perfect time to get it. I saw it and I was like, this is a sign I need to get this book, so I did. And it has been described as not a romance or a love story, but it is about love. So if you've read this book, let me know what you think. Then I also bought 4 of these Penguin Little Black Classics. One I've gifted away to my sister. One is number 62, Basho's Lips Too Chilled. Japan's celebrated Buddhist poet balances the smallness of humanity with nature's epic drama in these magical 17th century haikus. Then we have Mozart's My Dearest Father, entertaining, touching and sharp-tongued letters between the great 18th century composer and his mentor father. And we have Vasari's writing on Leonardo da Vinci. The first art historian explores genius and madness in Leonardo and other celebrated Renaissance artists. I think I also got number, let me just check, 66, which was Kate Chopin's pair of silk stockings, which is a short story by Kate Chopin, which I've read before, and that's why, you know, I decided to gift it to my sister, and I hope she'll enjoy it as well. So those are all the books I got in the month of October. And yeah, let's move on to November now. Before moving on to the November books, I think I should also show you this lovely book, How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. This was a Diwali gift for me by my dear friend Shivani, and I'm really excited for this book because I mean the title is intriguing, the cover is intriguing, and at the back it says, they say you can't choose your family, but you can kill them. Meet Grace Bernard, daughter, sister, serial killer. Grace has lost everything and she will stop at nothing to get revenge. So this is that. And then when it comes to November, I got only 2 new books, so I'm kind of happy at my self-control. The first one is a review copy, which is Welcome to the Hunam Dong Bookshop by Huang Borium. This was a review copy sent to me by Bloomsbury, and I think this is going to be one of my most memorable reads of the year. It's beautiful, it's set in a bookshop. So there's this woman, Yongju, who decides, you know, this is it, and just ups and leaves everything and then opens a bookshop in the Hunam Dong area. And it's beautiful. It's pretty much about, or pretty much like, it gives the same vibes as Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. So if that's something you really want to engage in, then this is a book you should read. It's also so beautiful. I did a lot of journaling while I was reading this book, so that says a lot in itself. If you like Little Forest, if you like Before the Coffee Gets Cold, then you'll definitely like this, and vice versa. The other book that I got in November was another gift, which is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I got this book towards the end of November, I think 29th or 30th. It was a gift from a dear friend, and I am, as you can see, reading this book currently, about 25% in. This is book 2 in the Fourth Wing series. As you can see, I've got the book 1 right here. So I am excited and I'm really loving the story so far. It's basically book 2, so I can't say much, but basically it's set in a war college where you learn to become a chronicler or an infantryman, and in our case, the hero and heroines and everyone. The story is set within the Rider Squadron, and they ride dragons. There are a lot of tasks that you have to complete, a lot of competitions, assassinations, threats, revenge, everything. It's very fast paced and there's a lot of action, and there's also romance as well, which is why I really love this romantasy series. And now I'm reading book 2, which I'm absolutely loving. So and those are all the books that I got in the month of October and November. I hope you enjoyed this video. I try to keep it as short as I could, because I also have to film the wrap-ups of the 2 months, which is quite time consuming, let me tell you. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.